I'm super interested in building smartphones because I think smartphones is the most important device we use every day. Everybody here has a phone. We all use our phones for a couple of hours every day. And there's no other device that we trust with as much of our information as the smartphone. However, I do think the modern smartphone is kind of not living up to its promise of being a bicycle for the mind. When the personal computer first came out, it was a way for us to manifest our creativity into the real world, right? Like, computers were very powerful, but very hard to use. And through the personal computing revolution, we put a computer on everybody's desk. However, the modern smartphone is not that bicycle for the mind. It's more like a opium for the mind. It's making us more distracted, more disconnected. But that doesn't remove the fact that it's the most important device we have today. So if we're able to really build a at-scale smartphone business, I think we can do a lot of great work on the software side to go back to some of those initial ideals. How do we empower people through the software of the smartphone?
And you believe tech should be fun again.
Yeah, it got really boring. Personally, I've been a big tech fan ever since I was a kid. I got the first iPod, I got the first iPhone, and those were super inspirational products for me. Those were the reason why I took a career in this industry. Now, all those companies that used to be creative and innovative of the past, they've all become really big, and they've become very defensive in their strategy. They don't have to work as hard or innovate as hard, so I just felt like, this industry is not that interesting anymore. It's very mature. Who's inspiring the next generation? Like, there's a kid out there who used to be in my shoes when I was like 12 or 14. Which company are they looking up to? And we've seen a lot of people attempt to build a smartphone company in the last 10 years or so, and everybody has failed. So we kind of felt like, if we don't take a chance, if we don't try, then nobody else will, and tech will forever remain boring.
Tell us, how are Nothing's phones not boring?
I think it starts with design, right? So as a startup company, we can't do everything. I would love to build some futuristic technology and ship it immediately, but those things take time. And a really fast way to differentiate is through design. So when we started this company, we tried to envision a design language that doesn't already exist. So we can't just look at the technology products that currently are on the market and create a derivative of that. So we looked at a lot of other fields like film, architecture, fashion design, etc. And then we built a mood board of what we wanted the brand to be and what the products to look like. And only then did we start actually making our products. Because we thought that, a lot of companies, they just design each product in a silo. So whilst each product might look really beautiful, if you put them all together, there's no coherent kind of design language across. I believe that Sony used to be a company that had a consistent language across their products. And in this current generation, it's Apple. But beyond these two companies, there's not a lot of others who think this way. So it's really important for us to first set the design language and then expand from there. We've been very transparent in our marketing communications as well. We do a lot of stuff on social media, on content, on digital, and sometimes the content is quite funny. So, we're kind of like a cult brand, at least a couple of years ago. So a very small amount of people knew us. They really loved us and what we stood for. And then one day we decided to hire a celebrity in India to help us promote the product.
Which celebrity?
Ranveer Singh in India to help us promote the product. And then some of our diehard fans were like, hey, you're a cult brand. You should let the product speak for themselves. Why are you getting a celebrity? And I just said, this is on Twitter, on X. I just said, bhai. Bhai means brother in Hindi. So brother, we're just trying to sell more phones. And then that got viral. Times of India wrote about it, like Hindustan Times. So I think there's a refreshing take of just being very honest about your intentions and what you're trying to do. So the product design, the marketing communications, the brand, and finally the software. We're still based on Android today, but we've redesigned Android to be very minimal. Our UI is pretty much monochromatic, helping people to be super intentional about what apps they open and what they use. Recently, we also launched social features within the OS itself. If you kind of walk back 10 years, 15 years, when social media just came out, it was originally a way for us to stay in touch with people we care about. But over time, we're just following celebrity accounts or meme accounts on social. So we've created features within our OS that allows Nothing users to communicate in a private way. The first feature we launched was a photo gallery. So for instance, the two of us could share a gallery. Whenever you upload a new photo, I can see it and vice versa. And it's not for the general public. We can like, we can add comments, etc. And as we add more of these social features, I think the OS will be a lot more fun to use as well.
Well, it brings me to a good point. You have strong opinions on how tech can help form human community. I think many of us have experienced a shift away from physical connections and friendships and work, school and family, and instead they're moving online. And you think tech can play a role in strengthening human community?
Yeah, I think, when Apple started almost 50 years ago, you had to be in Silicon Valley to get all the latest news about what's going on in technology and what's going on in the world. And then the biggest thing that happened in between that and now is the rise of the consumer internet. Now everybody can get access to all the accumulated knowledge of humanity just through the computer. So you don't have to be in Silicon Valley anymore to get all the latest information. So when we built this company, we were like, okay, there must be really smart people out there who we haven't identified, who might be in their bedroom, somebody really young, really interested in a specific topic, but they might be a world leader in that specific topic because they're so passionate about it. So how do we build a company that can leverage these kind of talents? So we've done a few things that are quite different. We allowed our users to invest in the company. Today we have about 8,000 users on the cap table. They're also represented on the board level, so every year they have an election within the community, and they will appoint somebody on the board. It's very annoying because they just show us all the problems, or show my board all the problems that I have to be accountable for. But it's good. It keeps us honest. It keeps us humble as we grow. They will help remind us of what the right thing to do is. We also started to co-develop products with the community. The long-term vision is that they also help do the programming, they do the design, the engineering. But as a first step last year, we created the world's first co-developed phone with our community. So we sourced designs from our community. We sourced the marketing. We sourced the packaging design, and made it a really cool project. So I think in the future, let's blur the lines between what's external, what's community, and what's the company. And we might find a new way of building a company.
And that's why you're a cult brand. You mentioned engineering. Let's end on this. I know you lived in China for a long time, building OnePlus. China leads the world in engineering, not just in consumer technology and semiconductors, but high-speed rail, fighter jets, any number of areas. Can anybody catch up to China, do you think, in engineering?
I think China is very strong right now in engineering, but I think history always ebbs and flows, right? So history is always cyclical. A bunch of people are in a tough situation. They create a better life for themselves and their nation, and then the next generation becomes kind of lazy and creates a bad situation, and it just repeats. So I think, yes, China is world leading in terms of engineering, but it's cyclical, and anybody with a vision and the resources and the conviction can also do it. Funnily, we were recently mentioned on Joe Rogan's podcast. It was an episode about America not being able to make anything, and I think they mentioned us as the only US brand that can make phones, but we're not a US brand, so hopefully I can go on his podcast to clarify.
We look forward to it. And with that, we're at time. Let's thank Carl very much.
Thank you.